One right now. 3 people, including 2 teens, are recovering this morning following 2 separate shooting incidents in broad daylight.
That's right. One suspect in custody, charged in last week's traffic agent assault in Harlem. There's a lot to talk about this morning. NYPD Chief of Patrol John Chell, Deputy Commissioner of Operations Daughtry here with us to discuss all of it involving public safety. Great to have both of you here. Morning. Let's begin in Lower Manhattan with what's happening in real time. We could expect a verdict any time in the case of the former president, right? How are you preparing for either side of the equation here, if it's guilty or not guilty verdict, in terms of security around the courthouse?
So we have a pretty robust plan in place, Dan. We put extra officers around the courthouse. Are we anticipating protests? Yes, we are. You know, whether good or bad, the verdict, which way you want to put it. But we have a robust security plan. We've been working with the court officers, New York State Court Officers Association. I'm not going to go into the particulars of the plan, but no, you know, this is the police commissioner protects everybody's fundamental right to protest, and the New York City Police Department will be there for that. And if it gets out of hand, we have our SRG, Strategic Response Group officers that are highly trained, motivated officers under the leadership of Deputy Chief John Diagamo and Jerry Dowling, and we're ready for them.
It's supposed to be quick. You know,
yep.
They're announcing that if a verdict comes down, it could be within 30 minutes. So are you planning to have those officers in place, ready to go at the time of the verdict?
They are in place right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're ready.
All right, let's switch gears now and talk about these shootings. We had 3 shootings yesterday, just within about 2 hours. And we always anticipate, at least the city, people that live here, are always anticipating that gun violence will get worse once the weather gets warmer. What are you anticipating and how are you preparing?
Well, the warm weather always brings more people out in the streets, and we'll see that time to time. Our shootings are still down for the year. We're still doing a good job. Homicides are down. And our 3-year number of shootings is really down. So we're fighting numbers, right? But like you said yesterday, we had a couple shootings, 2 innocent kids shot behind a school yesterday in Rockaway. They were unintended targets. We don't know what the motive is of that, but we've put more cops in violence reduction zones just for these situations. So we're prepared, we know what it is, and we'll try to keep that violence down and keep New York safe.
I mean, we had so many more incidents with violence in schools, and now that school would be released pretty soon, there's going to be a lot of kids running around. How are you going to control that kind of situation?
Well, there's programs for kids. We have programs for kids. We have our community fairs that reach out to kids. And again, we'll be in areas to help keep them safe, and hopefully some summer after school programs to keep them busy and keep them out of trouble. So it's a multi-pronged approach, but we're pretty good at this, so we'll be okay.
Takes a village.
Yeah, 18-year-old under arrest for assaulting a traffic cop with a fire extinguisher, right? We reported on this earlier in the week. Is the NYPD closing in on the other suspects that are involved in this case?
Right, so there's 4 people in the car, and in that instance, you know, just, let me look at that. That's terrible. I mean, how disrespectful, where are these kids raised? Unacceptable. But we have 1 arrest. The person actually pulled a fire extinguisher. We know who he is. Okay. He is wanted. We have the 3rd person in the car identified, not arrestable yet, and we have a 4th unidentified. So our detective bureau is doing a good job. Okay. We're going to put this to bed and send a message, and hopefully the consequences match this stupid act that these kids thought were funny.
Something also that the NYPD wanted to set a warning out about the scammers using cash apps, making scams with asking for donations. What is that all about?
So we saw this last year, and we see it again this year. Kids were selling the candy to support a baseball team or a basketball team. The moral of the story is here, please do not give your cell phone into someone's hands to give a donation, because your donation will be your bank account. Okay, don't. If you want to give, that's fine, but control your phone, control your app. Don't hand it to these young kids, because they're going to steal from you.
Let me add to that we also have we have a couple of persons of interest that we like that are possibly doing this. The crazy connection is that they live in Jersey. They don't even live in New York City.
All right, so we'll see what happens there. I do want to get your opinion on what we spoke to Brooklyn Borough President Tony Reynoso earlier this week about some incidents that were taking place in Brooklyn. The NYPD being accused, Chief Chell, of using excessive force when responding to calls involving people that were suffering mental health episodes. I want you to take a listen to what he had to say and then get your reaction to it.
Regardless of the weapon or what's in place, you just have to feel that in the NYPD and their training and all the work that we do, the equipment that they have to be able to stop this situation from happening in a way where they don't kill someone, especially an emotionally disturbed person. I mean, it just doesn't feel like they have the training right now, so a discussion needs to be had.
So does he have a point here about the training when it goes into dealing with emotionally disturbed people, and are you addressing those concerns about training?
We're constantly looking at our training and going over our training to get better. But with all due respect to the borough president, how do you respond to a person who knocks on your car door with 2 knives, one being a hunting knife, and someone coming at you in 30 seconds? How do you de-escalate that? How do you negotiate that? And they tried. Okay, they tried. Let's put the real numbers out here. We have 170,000 documented emotionally disturbed calls that we've gone to. Less than 1%, 170 resulted in force. So the narrative out there is patently false. But if there was a magic bullet where we all can sign on to help mentally disturbed people, we would all sign on in a heartbeat. We all want to give people help. But it's not realistic to think you're going to go up to a person on the street who's in mental distress and say, hey, come on with me. It doesn't work that way. Sometimes it's chaotic, it's fast. And look at those cops the other night. About 30 seconds, someone would come at you with 2 knives, and they tried to talk.
But do you get everyone right? I mean, when it comes to emotionally disturbed, like there's a lawsuit and an investigation right now into Lynn Rosario.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
But we try to keep it safe, looking at our training, and get better at it. Mentally disturbed people, it's very difficult to deal with, and it's fast moving. 170,000 documented calls. There's a lot more that's undocumented. Less than 1% in force.
And the officers used their taser in this particular incident. But we're also looking at other non-lethal impact weapons like beanbag guns that other departments use, to try to stop and to mitigate this incident so we don't have to go right to fatal.
Yeah.
But do you feel the NYPD should be at the front line when handling mentally disturbed incidents?
Absolutely. And then let's bring social workers into it. At the extent that social workers can come out with us and help, that's fantastic.
Let's use
Well,
this.
what are 2 social workers going to do the other night?
Yeah, let's use this case for a perfect example. If those officers had a social worker in the car, hey, you get out and go talk to this guy with 2 knives. Right? Hazel, Dan?
Well, they're saying that they want to have social workers go out with you.
Yeah, no, but if they would have went out with us, how would the social worker handle this situation?
I don't know, it
with
hasn't been done.
Yeah. But
Well, 30 seconds. Let's just go back and take this 30 seconds. A man with 2 knives in mental distress. We understand that. It's a tragedy for everybody. Think about this. But 2 cops at 3 o'clock in the morning. Guy with 2 knives coming at you. Let's be realistic about this. Sometimes the cops have to defend themselves because the alternative is to what? For having a different conversation with them being dead or severely hurt.
Yeah.
And we try to de-escalate. Like I said, 1% of the time out of 170,000 interactions. So again, the narrative out there from some is just false.
Yeah.
But in our end, are we perfect? No. Are we looking at training constantly? Yes. Are we trying to get better? Yes. We don't want to be in that position. Nobody wants to be in that position.
Well, before we let you go, we've been talking about it getting warmer, and now you have a new high-tech safety monitor to help keep beachgoers safe. What can you tell us about that?
Well, that's a very good question, Hazel. So,
Want me to hold the prop?
yeah,
Oh, you've
hold
got
the prop. Hold the
props.
prop up there.
There's the prop.
So
Okay.
there's our rest tube. They're going to be affixed to a drone. The drone will be constantly patrolling the beaches looking for any type of anomalies in the water.
Right.
Or if a swimmer or beachgoer is caught in the riptide, the drone will fly overhead. They can drop this device. As soon as it
see
makes
it
contact
without-
with the water, it opens up into a flotation device immediately.
does?
Correct.
Wow.
Now, do they have to do something where it opens up when it
As
drops?
soon as it makes contact with the water,
the water.
it just opens up to a flotation device.
Okay, so I should not drop this right now.
No. Well, it's not. Well, put it in the water. You'll see it.
Talk about
Here
the
we go.
kids
No,
while we
I'm
see it,
kidding.
Yeah. So the
Wow, really?
And you can talk at the same time to the individual that's in the
You
water.
want to hold
through
it,
the
Dan?
drum. Wow.
yes, you can. So think about this: the lifeguard is on top of his lifeguard tower.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. He sees a swimmer go down. The drones will be right overhead.
Yeah.
Sometimes the swimmer can go underwater, be submerged for a couple of seconds, and the lifeguard will lose his location in the water. But the drones will be right overhead directly, so the lifeguard can look up and see the drones there. Let me swim to this
Okay,
where
so-
he was last
And
seen.
that gets dropped.
And also, when this is happening, you're not alone because the drone operator, the pilot, is talking to the swimmer saying,
Yeah.
keep,
Wow.
hang in there. Lifeguard's almost there. You got it. You can do this. So you caught in the riptide. Swim to the left. Swim to the right.
So real quick, I know, how do you figure out the deployment to it? Because there's lifeguard shortages, right? So
Yeah.
is the NYPD on the beach at all times with the lifeguard?
This is not replacing a lifeguard.
Right.
This is an addition to the lifeguards that are out there.
Okay.
So this is not to replace the lifeguard. Drones are not taking over lifeguard jobs.
Right, but you'll be there on the beach.
They'll be working with them together. The drone operator pilot will also have a radio that will communicate with the lifeguards as well in the watchtowers.
What will they think of
Technology.
next? Thanks so much.
We never had this a year and a half ago. We had drones, but they weren't being deployed to our advantage. And the commissioner here is now taking our drones to a more of a proactive usage of them. And if this saves one life this summer, a complete success.
Yeah.
It's a win.
All right.
Well, thanks for sharing it with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time this morning, gentlemen.
I'm drowning if I want to hear your voice. I'm just kidding.
You swim?
Of course.
You probably got a private pool. Come on.
Yeah, a kiddie one.
You know what we're gonna do? You guys are gonna go to the beach. We're gonna test this on you guys.
That would be great.
Let's do it.
Let's go do it.